massage his shoulders from the time I was like 3. We were inseparable. It was one of those like amazing relationships, you know. He was the guy. He was like, I'm always here for you. I am never going down. Like, you know, and then he went down. I was alone with him in Italy. I had my 30th birthday party there at a friend's house with some friends, and then he and I were taking a road trip together. He didn't want to tell me how sick he was, and by the second night at dinner, his eyes started rolling back in his head, and I was like, this isn't okay. Like, we have to get you to the doctor. And then it just went very downhill from there. And I just have these images that stay with me, like the ambulance driver handing him a rubber glove, and that's what he was the whole way to the hospital, filling up the glove with blood. I mean, it was very upsetting. Yes, it was very traumatic.
Yeah.
And then he just died that first night.
You know, I was thinking about the things in life that are inevitable, and there's so much that is uncertain. And one of the things that's inevitable is that we're going to die, and our parents are going to die, and that's for sure.
Yep.
Everything else is like up for debate, you know. And how in our Western culture we have no preparation for our parents passing.
Yeah.
And for me, I would imagine that it's somewhat of a rite of passage where you go from being a little girl to having to grow up when a parent passes, especially your primary attachment parent.
I think in that case, I was so in the throes of despair when he died for so long. And it took me a really long time to get my head above water because he was the person that I went to for everything. And it was sort of for me like how Jewish boys, they don't cut their hair until they're 3 because there's strength in the hair, there's power in the hair, there's protection in the hair. And when the boy turns 3, they cut the boy's hair. It's his first step in becoming a man.
Yeah.
He's got to find his strength.
Yeah.
And that's what my dad's death has been for me. It's like I realized that, wait a minute, nobody is ever going to be able to take away my problems, and it has to be me. I mean, I have to love myself more than anybody else. I have to take care of myself. I have to find the answer. As sad as and tragic as his death is, and how I would do anything to have him back, it's almost like a gift that he gave me, because I would not be on the path to being the woman that I am if he were alive.
I read this amazing book by Joan Didion called A Year of Magical Thinking.
Oh yes, I've read that book.
And she talks about she wanted an autopsy done immediately when her husband passed.
Yeah.
Because she wanted them to tell her that it wasn't true.
Yeah.
She wanted them to find that actually his heart was working fine and that he was going to come back to life. And that really impacted me.
Me too. In fact, I've had so many, up until I read that book and since, that was my main wish, that it wouldn't have been true. You know, it's sad, but it's not the way his life was meant to go. It wasn't the way my life was meant to go. So I think there's a surrender in it at a certain point. It's like, and that, you know, the year of magical thinking makes sense, but after the year, it's like, okay, so let's figure out what the upside of this is.
Right. So after your dad passed, did you feel an urgency to create your own family and to partner?
You know, I haven't thought about it.